Hello, and welcome once again to Ark of the Covenant Ministries, the ministry where God's love is demonstrated. My name is Pastor James E. Smith, author of the book God's Love, the Key to Successful Relationships. And today we are in our series of teachings on chapter 4 entitled The Simplicity of Love. If you would like to access your free copy of the ebook, just click on that link above there and that'll carry you to our website where you can have your free copy of the ebook entitled God's Love, the Key to Successful Relationships. We are on page 30 at the top portion of that particular page where it says the Marriage Act. Let us read. Sex in the Bible is an activity that is reserved for a married couple, consisting of a male and a female. Anything that strays from this model is sin and is cursed by God. So we're going to be talking about the Marriage Act, which is sex, and that affects our dating relationships. Now, when we talked before, we mentioned all types of relationships. This particular book addresses all types of relationships, but we're really talking about the Marriage Act and spousal relationships, dating relationships, when you're considering someone to be your spouse, considering someone to be in love with. Sex enters the relationships. And even if people don't become sexually active, the thought when you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a fiance, the subject comes up, and we want to address that subject in this book and at this particular time. So, as it says here, sex in the Bible is an activity that is reserved for a married couple consisting of a male and a female. Anything that strays from this model is sin and is cursed by God. Since sex is a marriage act, those who engage in fornication, sex outside of marriage, feel tied to the person they are having sex with. This is because God has said that when male and female come together, they become one flesh. Since two people become one flesh through sex, they feel they are one with each other. Okay, so that's important. When you become sexually active with someone, the Bible says you become one with that person. And when you become one with that person, you become one not only in body, but in soul and in spirit. So it's important for us to understand that that's an important act. It's an important step when we're considering dating and courtship. When you begin to have sex, that's a big step. Why? Because you're going to become one with that person, one with their emotions, one with their mindset, one with their volition, one with their decision making, one in your body with that person. So, what if the person that you're having sex with, or that person someone is having sex with, is a criminal, or a liar, and a cheat, or a womanizer? Many are in relationships they know are bad for them, and they want to get out, but they can't. Why? Because they feel they are one with that person, tied together as if they were married. So many times in dating relationships, people begin to have sex. And number one, that curses the relationship because it's sin. Sex is reserved for a wife, a male, a husband, and a wife, a married couple. But when people begin to have sex outside of marriage, it curses the relationship. It taints the relationship. It dirties the relationship before God. And it becomes cursed because those two people are doing something outside of what God has said. That's number one. And because it's cursed, number two, things begin to happen in the relationship. Those people, because they feel they are one with each other and having sex between each other, that now they depend upon each other a lot more than if they weren't having sex with each other. Now they become one with each other, just as if they were married, but they're not married, and it causes many, many problems. A person could be pregnant. What if the woman's pregnant and they're not married? That becomes a financial crisis for the woman, produces stress in the relationship, and can tear the relationship apart, let alone having a conducive environment of true agape love for the relationship. So there's many wrong things that can happen in the relationship once the couple becomes sexually active. Being celibate protects us from this dependence. Once again, as those two people come together in the sexual act, they become dependent upon one another as if they are married. Being celibate protects us from this dependence because it allows our bodies to remain separate and independent from the person we are dating. Courtship is used to find out what kind of person you are attracted to. If the person turns out to be totally off the wall and unacceptable to you, it will be a lot easier to end the courtship because you have not become one with them through sexual intercourse. On the other hand, if you have already become sexually active with that person, chances are you will take a lot longer in time parting ways. Okay? So the dating relationship is there. The courtship is there to find out what kind of person that you are dating. What kind of person is that person? Okay? And if they turn out to be somebody that is totally unacceptable to you, you can part ways a lot easier if you're not having sex with that person. If you're having sex with that person, you become one with them. And it's a lot harder in parting ways once you have sex. Why? Because it's the marriage act. You become one with that person, one with their emotions, one in their decision making. You're now depending on that person as if this person is your spouse. And that is not the case. So this is the reason, or one of the major reasons why during a courtship you should not be sexually engaged with that person. One reason is you need to keep that relationship and that person in view in an objective way so that you can properly view everything good and bad in that relationship and in that person to see if you can love that person in a unconditional, self-sacrificial, agape way, agape love, God love kind of way. And if that person if you become one with that person, it's a lot harder to become objective about that relationship. Okay, if you are sexually active with that person, it dirties your vision. Why? Because it's sin. It's the marriage act outside of marriage. It's fornication, and God curses that type of relationship. So your vision is blurry, and now you can't keep that person and that relationship in an objective view. And things going wrong in the relationship, you want to get out, but you can't. Why? Because you're tied to that person. You become one with that person. So to keep all of that from happening, you can do so by just not becoming sexually active with the person that you date. Okay? It's important not to become sexually active with the people that you are dating. Why? Because you want to see if you truly love that person outside of lust. When a couple decides to marry after they have been celibate for some time, it says something about their future marriage. That it was not based on sex. If sex was not the reason for the couple getting married, then what was? Hopefully, the answer to that question would be love. For love far exceeds lust and rewards us in countless ways more than its counterfeits curses. As the couple progresses in their marriage, the sexual is only an enhancement of a beautiful relationship that has other amenities that are just as powerful. This is because God's pure love is the driving force in all phases of their relationship. Also, if the couple is physically separated for an extended period, for whatever reason, they will be less tempted to commit adultery because their relationship was not based on sex in the first place, but on true love. And if for some reason one of the partners is unable to perform sexually, the other partner is less likely to leave the other because, once again, their union was not based upon sex. For they learn how to abstain, sacrificing temporary sexual pleasure for the higher calling of God's love prior to their ever being married. So, abstinence from sexual activity in your dating relationship is very important. Number one, it keeps your vision clear so that you can be objective about that relationship and that person that you're dating. And it allows your vision to be clear so that you can see if you truly love that person with an agape love, a unconditional, God kind of self-sacrificing love for that person that you're dating. It also keeps your vision clear to see if that person loves you with an agape kind of unconditional, self-sacrificing, God kind of love. And once you discover, and the two of you discover that true love for each other, abstaining from sex, will say something about your future marriage. That one, your marriage is not based upon sex. And sex is only an enhancement of your relationship, icing on the cake. There's more to your relationship than sex. What is that more to your relationship? True love, God's love in your relationship. And if something goes wrong, maybe you and your spouse are separated for some period of time. Let's say you were in the military and you become separated for 6 months to a year. You're less likely to fall to adultery. Why? Because your relationship was never founded upon sex in the first place. That true love enhances the relationship even though you're separated. And also, if one becomes sexually inactive for some period of time for whatever reason, The spouse is not tempted to leave. Why? Because their relationship was never founded upon sex in the first place. That was never the picture of the dating relationship in the first place. You learned how to sacrifice the temporary pleasures of sex in your love relationship prior to getting married. And so your love for that person, that perpetual, self-regenerating and refreshing love, unconditional love, and self-sacrificing love in your relationship is so strong that it keeps you with that person, even though that person is unable to perform sexually. Why? Because your relationship, your love relationship with that person was never founded upon sex. So it's important for us when we're considering someone to be our spouse and we're dating that person, for us to address the sex issue. And it's important for us to address it in this fashion if we can. Okay? I'm not saying that a person, once they've gone down the road, that they can't find out if they truly love that person. But an easy way, a better way to find that out is to abstain from having sex with that person. And it's better to never begin having sex with the person that you are dating. Why? Because you need to see if you are in love with that person truly, and not just lusting after that person, not just wanting to be with that person because you've become one with them in the marriage act. Okay? So it's important for us to share that with you in this particular teaching on our series and chapter, The Simplicity of Love, chapter 4 of our book, God's Love, the Key to Successful Relationships. I look forward to being with you in our next teaching. Until then, may God richly bless you.